Hello and welcome to the second episode of the Record Scratch Podcast, the podcast where we discuss music, movies, and video games. My name is Garrett, and this episode we will explore our predictions for the Game Awards, including who we hope will win Game of the Year, as well as go through a list of our favorite games that have released this year. I'm once again joined by ultra super special guest, Johan. How are you, Johan?
Even better after you're calling me ultra super special. Thank you.
I had something written down about your body hair, but I decided I wouldn't do that to you, so...
That seems inappropriate.
Yeah, right. Okay, so just before we start, I'd like to thank everybody who listened to our first episode. We had lots of fun recording it, and I hope we can keep doing this for a while. Last month, I had you guess High School Musical songs. So this month, to go along with our theme, I'm going to give you gaming-related questions specifically related to the Game Awards. And also, last time I forgot to keep track of your score, so we just gave you 100%. This time I'm actually going to keep track.
Man, if my school forgot to keep score, I would have so many degrees right now.
Right? What year did the Game Awards first make its Spike TV debut?
Spike TV. I forgot that existed. I think 2008.
Ooh, 2003.
Oh, wow.
So now that you know that it's in 2003, what was the first ever Game of the Year?
Spider-Man 3 video game. I have no idea what came out in 2003.
No. Madden 04.
Madden won Game of the Year?
Yeah. 2003. First ever Game Awards Game of the Year.
There must have been absolute garbage that came out in 2003 if they gave it to Madden.
Yeah, probably.
No offense, Madden.
Back to absolute garbage in the year 2003. Who was the first host of the Video Game Awards?
Oh, who is so 2003 that they would host the Game Awards? Topher Grace, because he's just coming off of Spider-Man 3, which I actually think came out after 2003.
Incorrect. It was David Spade.
It's a lot worse than I imagined.
In 2006, what musical duo performed at the Video Game Awards?
Daft Punk.
Tenacious D.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that.
In what year did the Game Awards move away from Spike TV?
Okay, well, Spike TV stopped being a thing in, was it 2011? So I'm going to guess 2008, which is when I think they started, apparently.
It is not 2008. 2013.
That was close.
Yeah, you were...
And I was right in the middle of it.
In 2014, Jeff Keighley took the Game Awards in a new direction. He rebranded as the Game Awards that we knew today. What game took home Game of the Year in 2014?
Was it Shadow of Mordor?
No. Dragon Age Inquisition.
I forgot that game existed.
I think everybody forgets about Dragon Age.
No offense, BioWare.
I've tried to play Dragon Age, and I can't figure it out.
I mean, I don't think BioWare made good games until Mass Effect 2. So.
Also never been a huge fan of Mass Effect.
Yeah, I tried to play the first one, and I couldn't make it past an hour. It was so boring.
2019 was the largest year in viewers for the Game Awards. How many viewers did the show get?
2019, they streamed on Twitch, 200,000.
Ooh, you are way off. I'll let you take another stab at that.
Am I too high?
You're way too low.
Oh, way too low. 600,000.
You're still way too low. It's 45.2 million.
What?
Yeah. Just massive. Okay, and finally, what was the Game of the Year in 2019?
I was just on their website yesterday looking at this. Was it Death Stranding that won? Or was it Control? Both of those were nominated.
Neither.
Smash Bros?
Nope. I think Smash Bros. Was the year before.
I don't know. What is it?
Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice.
Oh, right. Sekiro came out last year.
Alright, well, I hate to do this to you, but you got 0 out of 8.
I'm not surprised. Those were a lot harder than the High School Musical questions, which I nailed.
Yeah, 100% on those ones. Okay, so this year has been a strange one for almost every form of media, including video games. But even though it's had its hard times with lots of video games being delayed, Cyberpunk, this year also released many great games. Before we get into our predictions for the Game Awards, which are just right around the corner, I want to go through a timeline of some of our favorite games that came out this year, starting in January.
Luckily, video games weren't too affected by COVID, unlike movies.
Oh, trying to pick a movie the other night to watch was just chaos.
There's been 5 movie releases this year.
January. A few of the games that I liked that came out in January, we had Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. The game reviewed decently, but wasn't exactly perfect in the eyes of critics. But personally, I enjoyed playing through the story, even if it wasn't quite the full one-to-one retelling. And I enjoyed like the open world setting compared to the previous Dragon Ball Z titles. I know they kind of dabbled in an open world, and I can't even remember the name of the last Dragon Ball game that came out, but it wasn't quite hitting for me. But this one was fantastic. I got a platinum trophy on it.
You said it wasn't quite a one-to-one retelling of the story, but from what I heard, it was like basically all of the main story points from the anime.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty close. I haven't actually watched the anime in like years, like since I was a child, but from what I remember, it filled in most of the gaps. They cut out a lot of the filler, and they cut out a bit of character building and stuff, but it was overall a pretty good game.
I was never big into Dragon Ball, but I heard it was good. The only thing that I played that came out in January is Journey to the Savage Planet.
Yeah.
It's a fun game. It's a good like exploration co-op game. I've enjoyed our time in it.
Yeah, that was actually fun. I completely forgot we were even playing through that game. So also in January for me, Walking Dead Saints and Sinners.
Is that the Telltale game?
No. So this is the VR game that's set in New Orleans. It's just got fantastic VR mechanics to it. Like when you stab a walker in the head, your knife actually has like resistance, and you have to pull their skull away from your knife. You can pick up a cigarette off the ground and smoke it if you wanted to.
I get motion sick in VR, but most of the time I found it pretty good. I don't think I've actually heard of this game.
VR is still pretty early on, and a lot of the games aren't exactly full experiences yet, but this one is actually one of the more full. The only thing with this game, though, was I don't normally get motion sick in VR, but for whatever reason, this game does it to me.
Have you played Arizona Sunshine?
I have.
Is it comparable in any way?
Arizona Sunshine I found a lot more arcadey. This one's kind of a bit of a different beast. I mean, even if you don't really like the Walking Dead franchise, just for the mechanics alone in the game, I think it stands out pretty good. Moving into February, for me, there was Dreams by the same people who did Little Big Planet. Like, Little Big Planet was kind of already shifting in that way before they shut down the servers. Dreams is a thing, more of a make-your-own game toolkit. And after a small learning curve, you can jump right into it and make the games you want to play. However, if you scroll through the dream surfing area, it's just full of memes. And I think that actually brings this game down, because there's so much potential that you could do, but then you go on and it's like, LOL poop.
Yeah, and people just like aren't trying to actually make good stuff. I'm sure there's a lot of really good games within Dreams.
Yeah, there is, but you have to sift through it, because you'll open the recommended page and it's just full of Shrek and poop and toilet paper.
I have absolutely nothing from February. I apparently just didn't play anything new. I guess I was probably just playing Overwatch all month.
You know, that's fair. February was really slow. I just had Dreams, and I think I only really played Dreams for like 2 weeks anyways, so.
Looking at February, the only thing I can see that I was somewhat interested in is Metro Redux.
Oh, okay.
But that was actually just the Nintendo Switch release, looking at that. I think that came out last year even. So yeah, there was nothing from February that I wanted to play.
Fair enough. Do you have anything for March?
I have a few things. March was a lot better, starting with Call of Duty Warzone.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which apparently released in March. I don't think I picked it up until April. I have sunk a lot of time into that game.
Yeah, you still play that pretty much daily, don't you?
Yeah, I play it basically daily at this point. I don't really have anything else to say about it right now until probably we get to the Game Award predictions. Also within March, there's Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Which I also played daily until about mid-August, and even now I play it every couple weeks or so, just so my villagers don't get sad and my island doesn't get covered with weeds.
Yeah, so for me in March, I also have Animal Crossing. The game came out at like pretty much the perfect time. The world was shutting down, and I actually think that benefited the game a lot.
Yeah, I forgot it came out like right when everything was shutting down.
Yeah, right? I went to work the next day and we were told we were shutting down. That actually benefited Animal Crossing a whole lot. It was a way people could still connect with their friends and hang out.
Exactly. I managed to get a lot of people being social while they were isolating through Animal Crossing Islands. There's a lot of celebrities that picked it up. Even, I don't know if you've seen Gary Whitta's talk show that he did in Animal Crossing, Animal Talking.
No, I actually have no idea who that is.
Okay, Gary Whitta is a Hollywood screenwriter. He has made movies such as Rogue One and what was the other one? Book of Eli.
Oh, okay.
And now he sometimes hosts or co-hosts podcasts with Kind of Funny, but he made a talk show completely within Animal Crossing and had celebrity guests such as T-Pain and Sting from The Police.
That is two incredibly random guests.
Also releasing on the same day as Animal Crossing was Doom Eternal. I don't know if you have played Doom Eternal.
I haven't, but it's actually on my list here just because the hilarious memes that came from it releasing on the same day as Animal Crossing.
Isabelle dressed as the Doomslayer or whatever, or the Doomslayer planting flowers on an island.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't actually played Doom Eternal. I do have it, and I played most of the, quote, first one from a few years ago. Yeah, I haven't played this one yet. I've been meaning to, but then I forget about it.
Honestly, I'm so bad at Doom. Like, when Doom 2016 came out, I played it, because I used to play the classic Doom.
Yeah.
So I got Doom 2016, but I can never get past the first level. I'm so bad.
Just turn the difficulty way down.
It's not even that. It's that you have to find these keys, and I'm just...
And the map is just garbage.
Yeah, I don't have the patience.
I enjoy the first one, literally just like jumping on top of people and ripping them apart. I don't want it to be difficult.
I just want to kill things. Beefy killing machine.
Do you have anything else from March?
Just those two.
I saw Half-Life Alyx is in March. I don't know if you played that at all.
I didn't. I haven't played any of the Half-Life games. I am obviously aware of them. I've played games that are Half-Life mods, so that counts.
Half-Life Alyx came out, which is just like a really well-made VR game. There was Call of Duty Campaign Remaster and then Persona 5 Royale. I haven't played that one either, but I've heard really good things about Persona.
I don't know what it is about Persona, but I've heard good things, but I look at it and I can't seem to want to get into it.
I stay clear from JRPGs just because I know that they're really long and I don't often want to sink, 200 hours into a single player game.
That's fair. I'm a bit of the opposite of that, though. I really like to play through a lengthy single player story. I'm not too huge into multiplayer competitive games like that.
That's fair.
So April was a bit of a slower month for me. However, one game came out that really stood out for me, and that was the Final Fantasy VII Remake, while we're on the topic of JRPGs. I played the original Final Fantasy VII when I was younger, and I believe it was the first JRPG that I ever played. So this remake really hit home for me. The new combat system was fabulous, and even though the game was only like the first section of the game, they're splitting it into a couple parts, if I'm not mistaken, but it was full enough that it felt like it could have, it was its own game, but it really didn't feel like I was missing anything because they split it up and they added a few parts to it. It didn't feel like filler at all to me, and the graphics were just fantastic.
Yeah, I watched some streams of it and it looked like a really fun game. Combat looked really fluid.
I will say with this remake, it's not like you're sitting there for 200 hours. You get maybe 30 to 40 hours out of it. Playing through it, you feel like you've just played through a whole game anyways. So if you were to play this one and then not play the sequel, I don't think that you would feel like you're missing out on anything. They did a really good job at kind of cutting the story off where it feels like you're complete, leaving it open for a sequel.
That's good.
Yeah.
April, the first thing I played was Predator Hunting Grounds, made by the same people who made the Friday the 13th game that came out, except for it's 4 soldiers against a predator. I didn't play a lot of it, but it was pretty fun.
Those games, they're really intriguing to me, and I feel like they should be bigger than what they are, but every single game that comes out where it's like one player is the big villain monster guy, I just don't know why, but all those games, when they're coming out, they seem like the biggest thing in the world, and then they come out and they flop.
The only one that I still see people playing is Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, and even that's more of a cult classic. Like, it's not a huge mainstream game.
I think one of the issues with these games at least, is when Evolve came out, it had a really crappy performance at release. Like, the servers were all crap. It would take like 20 minutes to find a game. People were also upset because they had DLC planned at release, but I think a lot of games have DLC planned or even in development at release. I really had a lot of fun with Evolve. I don't know if you played it at all.
I didn't know.
I thought it was the best of this genre, honestly. And then they just decided to shut down they made it free to play, and then I guess it didn't have enough traction, and they just shut down the servers.
I had no idea it had gone free to play at all.
Last time I went to play it, maybe a year ago, I played through like a tutorial or something, and then there was nothing after that. It wouldn't let me connect to an online server. But Predator's good. I think it's kind of imbalanced. The times I've played as Predator, I felt like I was getting wrecked. I felt like the Predator, you needed a lot more skill to play than the soldiers. This Predator felt super weak, which I didn't love. Like, I don't want it to be obviously the single person is going to win every single time, but I think it needed a little bit more abilities. I can't think of the right word. I think the Predator should have been better.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I did watch some people play through that. It looked fun, but yeah, I definitely kind of also got that feeling just from watching them that the Predator was severely underpowered.
The only time I ever won as the Predator is when it was a 1v2.
All right.
I have one more in April, actually. The other one I played in April was Gears of War Tactics, or just Gears Tactics, I guess it was called, which was a Gears of War XCOM style game. Even if you're not into Gears of War, if you like XCOM, I would recommend it. It obviously is set in the Gears world. You don't really need to know anything from Gears, but there's a few common enemies and some new enemies. Good little XCOM experience. I got probably 75% of the way through and didn't finish it.
I always thought I hated those games, but then I got one in a Humble Bundle a while back. I started playing it. I think it was XCOM 2 or something, and it actually caught me off guard with how much I actually enjoyed the formula of it.
They're super fun and they can get super addicting, but the nice thing about them versus other strategy games, like with something like Civilization or Crusader Kings,
Yeah.
oh, I'm just going to do this one more thing, one more turn, and you end up playing like 5 hours. But with XCOM, you can play 3 missions and turn it off because they're smaller and self-contained.
Right, yeah. Back to Gears. There was a game that came out in the series, the Gears Pop game. Did you ever play that?
I have not played it. I was curious about it, but I haven't picked it up or tried it at all.
Do you know when it came out?
I think it was mid 2019. I think it was E3 2018 that they initially showed it off.
Yeah, they showed them all back to back. And then, like, that trailer came out, and that was all I ever heard from the game. And then last week, I saw an article that they're shutting the servers down already.
I was going to download it and try it, but I guess I won't.
Yeah, I was just curious if you had played it at all. Because, yeah, I had no idea it even released.
This just in, they're shutting down the servers on April 26th, 2021.
Yeah, that's wild. Obviously, they didn't market that game very well.
Well, yeah, I saw the trailer for it, and then that was it. Like, I think I saw one other ad for it after that. I just completely forgot about it. Apparently it came out August 22nd, 2019.
Huh. Well,
To be fair, I wouldn't play it. I don't know
Yeah.
who this is marketed towards. Gears of War is like a mature game, and pop figures are like,
not that.
I don't even know what the game was about.
Yeah, I never saw any actual gameplay.
Now moving on to May.
Okay, so in May, there was a game that I think caught a lot of people off guard. That game was Maneater, the shark game. This game, it's actually a lot of fun, even though it feels like I'm playing a meme. But most of the time, I enjoy my time as Meme Shark. The controls are really janky, and the game makes absolutely no sense. But it's good. I can't explain why, but it's good.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this game other than you play as a shark and it's an RPG.
The more people and fish that you kill, the more your shark levels up, and you get like metal teeth and just crazy shit. It's fun. Like I said, the controls are a little janky and it gets frustrating at times, but it's a good time.
May, Golf with Your Friends got its full release. I don't know if you've played that.
I have. I thought that game was like 5 years old, though.
I'm pretty sure it went into like bullshit pre-release or whatever they call it.
Okay.
The only thing in May that I want to talk about is Crucible.
The name is familiar.
Well, it's a pretty common word, I guess. But Crucible is, I can't even call it bad because I barely played it. So Crucible was a game released by Amazon that went into beta in May, apparently. About 2 weeks later, they unreleased it.
Oh, I didn't know they did that.
Yeah, so you can't actually play Crucible now.
Huh.
Because the game was that bad. I loaded it up. I decided I wanted to try every hero. So I went and picked a hero and then went into the training area and played around. And then in order to switch heroes, I had to leave the training area, load back into the menu, pick a new hero, and then load back into the training area.
Oh, that seems like a massive oversight.
You're telling me. I think there was about 10 heroes, so I think I probably played it about maybe an hour trying them all out. I didn't like any of them. I think maybe there was one or two that I was like, this one's okay, but most of them I just didn't like. And then I never played a full game of it, and I never picked it up again, and then they unreleased the game, and I don't know what's happening with it now.
That's their only game that's out, I'm pretty sure. But I do know Amazon is releasing an RPG real soon that actually looks pretty good. I can't think of what it's called.
Okay, I just Googled it. Apparently they're shutting down Crucible.
Oh.
Here's the Crucible end of development FAQ. Why is Crucible shutting down? The dev team is moving to work on New World and other Amazon projects.
New World, yeah.
Yeah, and then something about purchases and how long can I continue to play. And it says you can continue to play until November 9th, 2020. So I guess Crucible is just gone.
Oh yeah, that's past. Holy crap.
RIP Crucible 2020 to 2020.
You were short-lived and you were terrible.
Yeah. The only other thing in May that I really want to mention is Minecraft Dungeons.
Okay.
I heard good things about it. It's just like Minecraft version of Diablo.
It piqued my interest a little bit. I'm not huge into Minecraft, but I really like Diablo. I even liked Diablo 3 when everybody else hated Diablo 3. So I really like that kind of game, but I never actually played it yet.
I think I downloaded it and then deleted it.
Is it on Game Pass?
Yep.
I'll have to download it and actually try it. Okay. You ready to move on to June?
Never been more ready.
June, I only have one game that I want to talk about, and I feel like it's the exact same game you have to talk about. Fairly divisive for most gamers. The Last of Us 2. So that game caused a whole lot of controversy when it came out. It was pretty much impossible to avoid. It was drawing negative reviews about 2 weeks before the game even came out because some screenshots were leaked showing a certain somebody dead. But the thing is the game was actually really well done. I didn't really enjoy playing through the first Last of Us. I found it was kind of a drag getting through it. However, I watched my wife play through it because the story was pretty good, but for me the gameplay just wasn't there on that first one. So then playing through the second one, I think they did a really good job at kind of polishing off all the game mechanics and making it more fun. As well as I think they did really well with the story, tale of revenge and why that's not always a good thing, I guess. I actually played through the whole thing, and despite all of its controversy, I think they did an excellent job with it, and it's definitely one of my favorite games that came out this year.
Here's been my experience with The Last of Us. I tried to play the first one and probably had a very similar reaction to you, where I just didn't enjoy the gameplay, but I'd heard very good things, so I tried to play it for a few hours and then gave up.
Right. Yeah.
Last of Us 2, I saw the controversy, obviously. It's impossible to avoid when you're looking at gaming stuff. And I was in multiple Discord calls with people who hadn't played the game saying it's bad, and then people on the other side who had played the game saying it's not bad. So basically everything I've heard is that people who have actually played the game enjoyed it, and then people who hadn't played the game were spewing the same few talking points. Like every single argument I heard from every person was always the same thing.
Right. And like, not to get political here or anything, but a lot of the controversy around it was that they had a transgender character, but everybody thought that Abby, who's like kind of beefy, they all thought that it was her that was transgendered, and it's actually not. And even if it was, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. They all just painted a bad image of the game for themselves without actually trying it.
Yeah, it was dumb. I think that whole controversy was dumb. The other game from June I wanted to talk about was Valorant. It went into open beta in May or so, and then actually released 1.0 in June. I played the beta and I had fun playing it, and then I think I played it like once or twice since it actually fully released, and also have enjoyed it, but I don't think I'm try hard enough for that game.
It was supposed to be huge, but after it officially released, I don't see much from it anymore.
It has a big esports following, which was sort of their main goal with it, was just for esports. I do see a good number of posts about it because I follow Overwatch League, and there was a good number of players leaving this year to go play Valorant instead. I think 4 of the 5 players on the Valorant FaZe team are former Overwatch players.
Oh, okay. So in July was another big month for me. I actually think July had one of the best games that we've had on the entire console generation. That game for me is Ghost of Tsushima. As soon as this game came out, I could not play anything else. When this game came out, I was playing through Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I was still playing Animal Crossing. I think I was playing a couple other games as well. This game actually caused me to fully retire from Animal Crossing. Luckily, my wife still plays Animal Crossing and takes care of the island for me, so
Don't talk to me, Isabel. I'm busy in feudal Japan.
I haven't actually played Animal Crossing since this game came out. Everything about it was pretty much perfect to me. I was a big fan of Sucker Punch's other games, specifically the Infamous series, and I had been anxiously awaiting for another Infamous game, and then they announced this.
I haven't picked up Ghost of Tsushima. It's one of the games from this year that I wish I played.
Yo, you absolutely should if you haven't yet.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good reviews. All the gameplay I've seen, everything looks gorgeous. There's really no reason why I didn't play the game other than I was probably too busy playing Warzone and Animal Crossing.
That's fair. But yeah, going back to like the graphics, the game has a photo mode in it. I've never been like huge into photo modes, but while playing this game, I found myself pausing even during combat just to take a picture. I've actually filled pretty much my hard drive with screenshots. You can just do so much with it. And then on top of all of that, they just released a free update, which adds multiplayer as well as New Game Plus.
The multiplayer is actually something I'm really curious about because it's like a Destiny-style looter, isn't it? Where you...
I'd say it's a little similar to that. Like, the raid hasn't actually been released yet, but there's a full campaign that you can play through with your friends, pick a class, and then from there you play to your role. But then there's also like a survival, like a horde mode. It's very similar to like Call of Duty Zombies, except instead of zombies, you're fighting the Mongol Empire.
I love horde modes.
Oh, me too.
Like Gears Horde, COD Zombies, the Halo one. I'm there for it. I want to say I'll play it right away, or when I pick up a PS5, I'll play like the upgraded version, but I should. I have nothing from July. Ghost of Tsushima was the only thing I wrote down. I assumed you'd bring it up, but I had nothing in July that I played. Nothing really piqued my interest other than Ghosts.
Okay, well then let's move on to August.
August was a big month for me, sort of. I have a few things written down here. The first one was Fall Guys, which I think took the world by storm. Very surprisingly popular. I guess the PS4 free release. It was on PS Plus when it first released. Played a lot for a couple weeks when it first came out.
Yep. That's kind of what my experience with Fall Guys was too. I played it a lot when it first came out because it was the PlayStation Plus game for the month. I really enjoyed it. It's a nice twist on, I'm doing air quotes, Battle Royale, but like kind of the game show vibe.
It's a lot of fun. I would definitely probably play more of it if I was in the mood, but it's a good game to play for an hour and then...
That's exactly my thoughts. It's a great game to pick up if you need to kill a little bit of time before you go and do something. Just pick it up and play it for a bit, and then you can put it down and forget about it for a month and come back to it.
A couple more things I just want to quickly mention, then we can get to your stuff, and then after I kind of want to rant about bad stuff in August.
Honestly, take August. The only thing I had was Fall Guys, so you go on your rant.
I'm not going to rant yet, but I also released in August was Factorio 1.0, which I didn't play a lot of Factorio. I played it literally only one time since the 1.0 release and none before that, but I played a decent amount of Satisfactory, which is still in pre-release.
Right. I tried to get into the alpha for that game, and I actually got a key, but I never used it.
It's not for everyone. It's basically like organization the game. You're literally like building factories to make building factories easier. It sounds really boring, but I have a lot of fun playing games like that. And then also released in August was UFC 4, the EA Sports UFC 4, which I haven't bought. I played a lot of 2 and 3. And a decent amount of 1. 4, I played a little bit at a friend's house. I think 3 is probably the best one in the series so far.
I think it was UFC 2 that I played. I played it so much that I actually wore out my thumb pads on my controller. And then my controller was like permanently stuck going one direction.
Also in August was Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Oh, was that August?
That was in August, yeah. Which I played a little bit. It was a huge download, like 100 gigabytes, so I no longer have it on my computer because it's way too big, but it was fun. I can see some people getting super into the game. It's hyper realistic flight. My biggest issue is that it's real time to travel. It's like a half-hour flight, and I almost made it to the end and crashed in the other airport, and I just like was very upset.
I actually love that about it. I never actually played it, but I love games that at least attempt to do that. Like,
It is actually a positive for it that it has real time. It's just I don't have the patience to sit there and fly a plane for 10 hours.
that's fair.
Also in August, now it's going to get to the, maybe not quite a rant, but just like angry about video games. In August, they released Fast and Furious Crossroads.
Okay.
It's an in-canon game. It has Vin Diesel. Apparently, it's like a really short game. It's only like 10 hours, but I want to say it was less than 10 hours. But it was a full-priced game, and it was buggy, and the graphics were crappy. Basically, what you would expect from Fast and Furious. I really want to play it, but I don't want to pay $80 or whatever it is for this game.
I could see that. I wouldn't expect much else from Fast and Furious. Movies typically are kind of trash too.
They're trash in a really good way, though.
Sure.
I don't know if you've watched any of the Fast and Furious movies, but at the end of the second one, spoiler for this 20-year-old movie, they jump a car into a swamp. In this game, I don't know if it was the protagonist or whatever, but this girl in this game says, "Oh, I found this car in a swamp in Miami." So they literally fished the car out from the second movie and somehow put it into this video game. I don't understand.
I guess that's just a little Easter egg for the fans.
I don't know. And then also released in August was Hyperscape, another battle royale shooter.
I forgot about that game. I played it.
If you were watching someone play it on Twitch, you could like interact with the game. I watched someone play a little bit of the beta and I thought it looked bad and never played it.
It was actually pretty fun from what I played. It's a lot more going up. I guess I don't know how to explain this. It's a lot more going upwards, and I kind of liked the blend of it being almost, again, I'm going to do air quotes, but almost a hero shooter, but it wasn't quite hero-based, but you had like the powers and skills. I actually had a lot of fun the few rounds that I played it. I think I only played it for about a week.
I thought some of the powers looked kind of dumb, and the idea of the gun upgrading where you like pick up a gun and then if you pick up the same gun again, you get it upgraded is, I think it's a cool idea, but the one thing I do like about Hyperscape that I can definitely say I do like about it is that instead of it just being a circle that closes in, it's just parts of the map start falling away. I don't really know what the justification is in Apex, but in Fortnite and in Call of Duty, it's a storm and a gas cloud, and when are those things ever going to be in a perfect circle? It's obviously it's part of the video game, but like in Hyperscape, it's like, oh, part of the world is getting destroyed, and then the next part of the world is getting destroyed or whatever. But yeah, we can move on to September.
All right, September, I actually have a decent amount to talk about. First of all, we got the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 remake. I loved it. Had a large portion of the original soundtrack coming back. Updated mechanics to make it kind of fit in with today's games, and it hits just the right amount of nostalgia to remind me of my childhood when I was playing Pro Skater 2 on my Nintendo 64. I played that game so much when I was a kid, it was just wild. I'm just so glad that I have a game that can kind of bring back those memories for me. Also, it's awesome to see skateboarding games just in general making a comeback. But now we have games like Skater XL and Session. EA's finally mentioned the Skate franchise for the first time in years, so that's all just fantastic. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, just loved it. Also in September we got this game was a little bit of a disappointment for me, but we got the Marvel. It's a bit of a disappointment. I actually enjoyed the time that I played the game. Marvel's Avengers, it's a live service game done by Crystal Dynamics and published by Square Enix. Looking at that, you're like, wow, that's pretty good. How could they mess that up? But they did.
When I first saw the trailer, I was super excited to play an Avengers game, close to right off the heels of the Spider-Man PS4 game. And so I was really excited about it. And then I heard game as a service, Destiny style Avengers game with future heroes coming, and I was just immediately turned off. I've enjoyed playing Destiny, and I still enjoy playing Destiny from time to time, but I don't want an Avengers game to be that.
Honestly, they didn't do the games of service as bad as it would seem. Like, the campaign itself was actually pretty good. It was kind of like a simple story. It's nothing to like lose your mind over, but it's a superhero game, and it was actually a lot of fun to play through. However, there's only so much content in the game, and that once you reach that end game, not too much to do with it.
The end game?
Shit, I didn't even think of that.
I played a little bit of the beta. I played like a mission or something at a friend's house, and it was okay. I was playing as the Hulk, and I smashed some stuff.
What they did for the beta was probably a bit of a misstep because they kind of locked the multiplayer out. Like, you had to play through a good solid 2 hours before you unlocked multiplayer in the beta. And when you're gearing your game as a multiplayer game, that's kind of the wrong move. Generally, I do hope that this game has a bit of a redemption story similar to No Man's Sky, because I do actually enjoy the mechanics in it.
If any game is going to do that from this year, I think Avengers would be a good candidate.
Yeah, that's my September.
That's all you have from September?
Yeah.
I will start September by talking about Hades. Hades is a roguelike game set in Greek mythology. You play as Hades' son trying to escape from the underworld. It has a story, not that I have been paying attention to it, but it's a roguelike game with a story made by Supergiant Games, who have also made Bastion and I think the game's Transistor. I haven't played any of their other stuff, but I've heard really good things. Yeah, so you're escaping the underworld. There's 6 different weapons I think you get to choose from, and as you get through, you find upgrades, which are boons from other Olympian gods. So you can find stuff from Zeus and he gives you lightning abilities, or you can find stuff from Ares and he increases your damage or does things like that because he's the god of war, obviously, and Poseidon gives you knockback abilities with water. And then it's just 3 areas that you have to clear through with a mini boss and a boss in each, and then at the end you have to fight Hades. So far I have made it to Hades 3 or 4 times. I have beat him no times, and I have 17 hours in the game. It's a really hard game, but it's fun. Play a run. It takes 20 minutes at most, maybe 30 if you're going slow. And then at the end, my hands hurt, and I have to go play something else.
That's fair. Games like that, I do enjoy, but I'm pretty bad at those ones. I typically don't play them for very long.
Yeah, the thing about roguelikes is if you don't progress or start to beat them, eventually they just become repetitive because you're just playing the first area over and over, and it gets kind of frustrating.
I was going to say Dead Cells is about the only one I've kind of gotten far in, but I think that's a different category of game.
I don't even know what that is.
You don't know Dead Cells? Okay.
The only other thing I have in September is Crusader Kings 3. I just started playing about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
It is a grand strategy game, so unlike a Civ where it's a turn-based thing or something like a real-time strategy like Age of Empires or Warcraft, StarCraft, this one is basically you are trying... There's not really an end goal, actually. The game doesn't end when you win. The game ends after you've hit a certain year.
Right.
You can start in 870 or something, and then 1160, and the game ends at 1400 in the 871, and I don't know if it's the same with the other one. Basically, you just do diplomacy, try to get people to like you more. You can go to war and conquer land. You can murder schemes against other rulers or people in your court or on your council if they don't like you, but there's always a chance to fail or for them to find out, and then they just start to hate you more. I have played through one save file where I started in a small county in Sweden, and then I became the king of Sweden, and then I became the king of Norway, and then I became the king of Lapland, which is the northern area of Scandinavia, and then I lost it all because my guy died. Oh yeah, when your person dies, your game doesn't end. As long as you have an heir within your dynasty, you continue. So my guy died, and the succession got passed to different people, so I lost Norway as part of my kingdom, and then I had to take it back, and then all the stuff, and now at this point I am the emperor of Scandinavia, and everyone hates me because I took their land mostly by force.
Well, sometimes you just gotta do that.
Sometimes you just gotta do that, and I haven't played much since because at this point I don't feel like I have an end goal. My goal was to become the Emperor of Scandinavia, but now everyone hates me and it's hard to do anything.
I will do my best to please you, Mr. Emperor.
Yeah, don't piss me off or else I'll send a spy to murder you. For legal reasons, that was a joke. Okay, moving on to October.
All right, so in October, I just have one game to talk about. I believe you'll probably also want to talk about this one. Squadrons. I'm always happy to get more Star Wars games, especially after Fallen Order. Fallen Order was fantastic. After Fallen Order, I kind of have a bit of renewed faith for EA for their handling of Star Wars games.
Between Fallen Order and the redemption of Battlefront 2.
Yeah, so Squadrons I've only actually had for, probably about a week at this point, but what I've played so far is actually a lot of fun. I'm pretty bad at it. I like that I have the option to either play it in VR or not. I find myself often I'll start in VR, and then when I get kind of tired of wearing that big bulky thing on my face, then I find I can just pop that off, and there's an option right there in the menu to transition it seamlessly. It's pretty cool. However, the one downside is the lack of joystick optimization or flight sticks. And you would think that they would have spent a little bit of extra time with the flight stick control for a game like this.
Yeah, I did hear that the flight stick was poorly implemented into the game. Hopefully they come out with an update that fixes it.
Yeah, that's what I'm really hoping for, because I've always wanted to pilot an X-Wing. It's good on mouse and keyboard, but like I said, I'm really bad at it, and I actually do a lot better with a controller.
I immediately started with a controller. I didn't even try it on mouse and keyboard.
The only downside with mouse and keyboard is that the mouse kind of controls which direction your cockpit is going. So, like, if you kind of drift a little bit, it could mess up your entire shot. So,
have you played the story at all?
Yeah, that's about all I've actually played so far. I haven't beaten it.
I did the required mission when you first launch into the game.
Right.
Then I just played some multiplayer because my friends wanted to play. And I want to go back and play the campaign. I just haven't gone back to it yet.
Yeah, the campaign, it seems interesting from what I've played so far. I haven't played too much of it. Like I said, I've only had it for about a week, but
I've heard it's pretty short. Not a super long campaign, like it's mostly geared towards the multiplayer.
That's just to be expected with a game like that. That's all I have in October.
I have two more. Ghost Runner.
Oh, right.
It's a futuristic, almost like Mirror's Edge wall running type of game. There's a lot of parkour with combat as well. You have a sword and you're against enemies that have guns and you have to dodge them and slash at them. It's pretty fun. It's actually really difficult. 2 boss fights in and both of them were really difficult. Ghost Runner, I'm 4.8 hours in and I think I'm halfway to 2/3 done. It's not super long, but it is a lot of fun.
From what I've seen of it, I've actually wanted to play it and I just haven't, but it seems like it's the perfect game if you're kind of into speed running.
I was having trouble with the second boss just because I didn't know what I was doing or if what I was doing was correct. And I Googled it and the first result was speed running.
Yeah, it really seems like the perfect game to do the speed running community in.
Okay, the other thing I wanted to talk about from October is actually released in November.
So November, I actually don't have any games to talk about. I do have some notes for November, but I'll let you do your thing first.
The only game I've played from November so far is the new Assassin's Creed.
Oh, have you played it? I've been wondering about it.
Playing it Tuesday, and I played it a bunch yesterday. It's fun. The last Assassin's Creed I played was Origins. Origins was overwhelmingly large, and I never finished it.
You completely skipped over Odyssey then?
Yeah, I didn't play Odyssey at all. I wanted to play Odyssey because Origins was fun from what I played it, and it was a lot better than some of the previous Assassin's Creeds.
Yeah.
But with Odyssey, I was like, oh yeah, I'll finish Origins first, and then I stopped playing Origins a 10th of the way through.
The reason I brought that up was because I wanted to see how it compared to Odyssey, because I found Odyssey kind of built off of a lot of what they were trying to do in Origins and did it a lot better. I know it's kind of, from what I've seen from critics, is people are kind of getting tired of the formula they had in Odyssey, so...
I was excited for this one because it's Vikings.
Yeah.
On Uplay, it says I'm 9% of the way through total progress, but I assume that counts as collectibles and stuff as well. I'm 9 hours in. The story so far is, I don't know, plain, I guess, is what I would call it. Like, it's nothing special. The Assassin's Creed stories, I don't think, have really been super good since maybe Brotherhood. But I also haven't really played a lot of the Assassin's Creed games.
I was gonna say, Odyssey's story is pretty good.
The character models in the game look about as good as they did in Assassin's Creed 4.
Oh.
The environments look really good. I wish they had focused more on combat in this game. I wish they had maybe tweaked it slightly and made it a little bit more fluid because you're playing as a Viking, and I feel like 99% of the time I'm just going in full combat and not stealth, whereas in previous Assassin's Creed I might have tried to be stealthy more. I haven't run into like a get detected you failed mission yet. I don't think they're the type of game that they do that. But like I've had fun raiding monasteries, and you know the combat is still fun. There is still some cool animations in it. Like there's some cool finishers that you can do. I don't know how it was in Odyssey, but in Origins it felt like every single encounter I did or every single dungeon or whatever I went to, I got a new weapon, and I would pick up a gold weapon, like a legendary weapon, and then the next place I'd go and I'd find a common one that was better. And it's like, what's the point of putting rarities on this if the ones I'm finding are better? Pretty much everything you find starts as common, at least at this point in the game. I've only found a couple things that are one level up. You level them up yourselves. Like you start gray and then you level them up to copper and then to silver and then to gold. And there's not a lot of gear. I found maybe a total of 6 weapons at this point, and I think 2 extra pieces of armor other than the full set that I already have.
I think that's actually a really good thing, because in Odyssey it seems like they got a little carried away with gear. It was like every time I killed somebody I'd have to change my whole loadout to fix my stats.
The one thing I've found with it is performance-wise, maybe it's because I'm playing on PC, it feels like if I play like 4 hours, I start to drop a lot of frames and it gets really laggy and it'll reset the game. But it's also apparently optimized for AMD and I have an NVIDIA, and I'm also running it on Ultra, so probably if I turned down the graphics it would run better. And the one other big thing about Assassin's Creed is it seems kind of hard to make a game where the Vikings are the good guys and the English who are just defending their land, especially in monasteries where they're just monks doing their thing. It's hard to justify you as the good guy raiding and pillaging.
I was kind of wondering how they would handle that situation.
They did the classic Assassin's Creed thing where most of the people on the thrones in England are actually Templars.
Yeah.
Or they don't call them Templars yet because it takes place before the Crusade. But whatever the name of them are, and you actually aren't, at least at this point in the game, I'm not actually part of the Assassin's Order.
Right.
I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, I don't think in Odyssey at all, I don't think you ever end up as part of the Assassin's Order.
Well, it gets founded in Origins, and Odyssey takes place before Origins.
Oh, okay. Well, then that would explain it. I didn't actually play Origins. I kind of pick up Assassin's Creed every few years.
If they stopped releasing yearly, maybe.
Well, they did for a time, and then they picked it back up again.
They took a year off between Odyssey and this one. But I played a little bit of the first one. I played the second one. I played Brotherhood. I played Revelations. I played most of 3. I think I played 4, like 1 and 2 half times. And then I've played a few hours of Origins, and now I'm playing this one.
4 is Black Flag, right?
Yeah, 4 is Black Flag. 4 is maybe not the best. I think Brotherhood or 2 is probably the best, but 4 is definitely the one I like the most.
I would think I agree with you on that. I never played Brotherhood. I did play the first 2.
Brotherhood is basically the second one, but with a slightly better story and just like optimized a little bit better. I prefer 2 over Brotherhood just because Brotherhood takes place only in Rome, where 2 you get to go to Venice and Florence and a couple other places as well.
For November, I didn't really have any games. However, I do want to mention the new consoles. I was unable to get either of the new consoles. Did you have any luck getting either of them?
I am not planning to get a new Xbox because
Okay.
of the way Microsoft is marketing.
Right. Yeah, they're just ecosystem.
Everything from Microsoft is also going on PC, and I already have PC, and I don't really need to spend the extra money on an Xbox right now, and especially with Game Pass, I think I'm good. The PS5 I did not get, and I would like to get one, so maybe in the new year I'll be able to get one, but
I tried to pre-order one. So the first day the pre-orders went out, that was a mess, as everybody knows. And then there was Superstore pre-order, where the pre-orders went live at 3 in the morning. So I set an alarm and woke up at 3 in the morning, went to the Superstore website and sat in a waiting room. But turns out, if I had waited until exactly 3 a.m. and went to the Superstore website, it completely bypassed the waiting room. So everybody that was sitting in the waiting room was just sitting in a waiting room while other people were buying the console.
So you needed to get up at like 2:45.
Yeah, and not go to the website until exactly 3 a.m. when the pre-order went live, and I would have been able to get one that way. But instead, I got up at like 5 to 3, went to the website, sat in a waiting room, and didn't get a console. So I'm hoping to get a PS5 as soon as I can.
I think there will be another release. Like Sony said they'd have some available throughout I forgot what month they said, but it'd be a few months that they had available. Yeah. So I'm sure they'll have another shipment within the next few months.
I honestly think what their issue is, though, is that they're releasing it all online rather than in-store.
So then scalpers can just easily pick it up?
Yeah. Once they're available in-store, I'm sure I'll be able to get one. So that was pretty much the year. Was there anything you were looking forward to?
The things that I was wanting to play from this year that I haven't gotten a chance to pick up, or a few things that aren't out yet. The new Destiny expansion, I played Destiny 1 a little bit after release until Destiny 2 came out. Then I played Destiny 2 until the first expansion or so. So I'm excited for the new expansion. I've heard good things so far from it, and I'd like to play that one. And then the new Hyrule Warriors actually looks pretty fun.
Actually, yeah, I saw that. My wife and I played through the first Hyrule Warriors on the Wii U.
Oh, right. That was on Wii U.
Yeah.
That was fun. I think I played it a couple times with you guys.
Yeah, I really like the Warriors series.
Yeah, but the new one looks good, set in the battle 100 years before Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
That's all I have right now for the rest of the year.
I'm looking forward to Cyberpunk, obviously. And then once I get a PS5, I want to play Demon Souls.
Demon Souls remake.
That's about the only Souls game that I've ever actually enjoyed. And then, yeah, the new Spider-Man, I guess, standalone DLC game, whatever you want to call it, looks really good. But yeah, that's basically all I'm looking forward to at the moment.
Oh, the Game Awards. I clicked on the website to look at the categories, but they updated the website to show coming soon for this year's Game Awards.
Okay, well.
Seeing if I can find it here. I found all of the categories. Do you want to start with some of the smaller ones and end with Game of the Year?
I don't have a list of all the categories, so if you just want to read them off, and I won't have a game for every single one.
Okay, so let's start with some of the smaller ones. Do you have anything for Content Creator of the Year?
I don't, no.
Do you have anything for Best Esports Host?
No.
The only thing I could think of for Best Esports Host, I don't really follow esports other than Overwatch League, and sometimes other things creep into there. But I put Zoe from Overwatch League. I think she deserves it. In the last 3 months, she had to fly back to Switzerland because her dad was in an accident. Basically miss the first half of the playoffs and then work through all of that, find a way to set up so that she can get back into Overwatch League hosting, while also taking care of her dad and some other family members, and also in the middle of her visa was going to expire while she was gone. So she got married right before leaving. Her now husband had to move out of their apartment alone because their lease was up, all this stuff. So I think she deserves it just because she's been through a lot. And then the other person I put was Golden Boy because he's a classic. That's all I have for him. Best esports event. I mean, I put Overwatch League. I think the League of Legends Championship or the International for Dota always wins.
Yeah, those are huge spectacles. I don't follow esports really at all. I do appreciate the Overwatch League. I like that I can go to like the rec room. They've got Overwatch League on TV.
Like the place. I thought you meant like the place. Doesn't the PlayStation thing have like a rec room in it?
Oh shit, yeah, it does.
That's what I thought you were talking about. I was kind of confused. The best esports coach, I had a few that I wrote down. Krusty, who's the San Francisco Shock coach because he has made a championship team 2 years in a row. Moon from the Shanghai Dragons because he brought them from the first season where they went 0-40 to this season where they were arguably the best team without winning the league.
Right.
Best esports team, I put San Francisco Shock because I won 2 years in a row and I don't know anything about other esports. Best community support, that's the game that obviously the devs are continuing to support really well.
I didn't actually write anything. I don't know if it would qualify, but No Man's Sky I would put for that one.
Yeah, they did a good job basically re-releasing that game.
Yeah.
The ones I wrote down for that were Destiny 2, Apex Legends, Warzone. I wrote down Gortnite. It's supposed to be Fortnite. And I wrote Rainbow Six Siege. Destiny 2 won last year. Maybe either Warzone or Destiny 2 will win this year. Maybe Apex again. Best multiplayer game. Do you have anything for that one?
I haven't played much of it, but I'd give it to Call of Duty Warzone.
I think it would go to Warzone as well.
Yeah.
The two I listed were Warzone and Mario 35 because I was looking at the nominees last year and Tetris 99 was on there, so I thought maybe the new Mario would go on there as well.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that would count. That's a fun game.
I guess Fall Guys would probably also go in Best Multiplayer Game.
Right.
Or even like Among Us, and those maybe not have a chance, but they could be nominated.
Well, actually, I think Among Us came out last year.
I thought it came out in like July.
Oh, was it just July? I thought it was like a lot older, but...
Oh, it came out in 2018.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so 2 years old.
Didn't gain traction until this year.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I thought it was just like a few months, but it was a few years.
Yeah.
Okay, the next category is Best Sports or Racing Game. Sports/racing game, I guess.
So that one's got to go to Tony Hawk. I can't see anything else taking that.
Fair. I didn't even think about that when I was making my list. I think I wrote down Dirt 5, Project Cars 3, FIFA, and UFC 4.
Okay.
I don't really know anything about those games other than that they're racing and or sports games. And I think FIFA was nominated last year, so I just put it down again.
That's fair.
UFC is the only one of these. I mean, maybe Dirt or Project Cars, but Project Cars, I think the first one came out and then I didn't hear anything about it past that. And then the second one I think I saw at E3 and that was it. I didn't even know they made a third one. I would have to give it to probably the Skate remake as well.
Tony Hawk remake, yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, so strategy game.
I got nothing.
I put Crusader Kings 3 and the Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition, and I also put Warcraft 3 Reforged. I didn't play Warcraft 3 Reforged because I heard when it released that it was incredibly buggy,
Yeah.
poorly made. Maybe if it got better, if they updated it, it might end up on this list, but I can't see it going to anything other than Crusader Kings 3.
I don't think Warcraft has taken home any awards.
No, I don't think so either. It's just the only other strategy game I could think of. Okay, the next one is Best Family Game.
Okay, I got nothing for that.
Mario All-Stars, the Mario 3D All-Stars, but really I don't see it going to anything other than Fall Guys.
Yeah, I guess Fall Guys would be a family game.
There's probably more Nintendo games. I guess Animal Crossing would probably be on this list as well.
Shoot, yeah, I missed like all of that when I was thinking.
Best Fighting Game. I know you're big
Alright.
into fighting games, so I think this category is a lot better because I wrote down Anime Game because I don't remember the game that has like One Piece and Naruto in it.
Jump Force is what you're thinking of, but I think that came out last year.
I saw it on the list of games that came out this year, but it was probably just like a different console release.
Yeah, I think it came out on like Switch or something. But I do love a good fighting game, as you said. However, nothing really good came out for them this year. There was a new Street Fighter, but it was trash. I'm gonna give this one to Kirby Fighters.
What is Kirby Fighters?
It's a fighting game where you're Kirby. I've never played it, but just by default, Street Fighter is so bad. Not Super Smash Bros, because it's all Kirby.
It still just sounds like Super Smash Bros.
Yeah, I see what you're getting at. But yeah, no, Street Fighter is really bad, which kind of pains me to say it because I do love Street Fighter, but it was so bad that Kirby wins. Also, there was a game that came out called Grand Blue Fantasy, which looks pretty cool, but I've never heard about it before I was researching this. So it goes to Kirby.
Okay, Kirby wins Best Fighting Game of the Year. Heard it here first. Best Role-Playing Game.
Tempted to say Maneater just for the sake of the memes, but personally I feel like it'll actually go to Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Most likely. Somehow I completely missed this category because I have nothing written down for it.
All right.
Awkward. Maybe Ghost of Tsushima, but I don't know if that would count as an RPG game.
I don't think I would call it an RPG.
Best Action/Adventure Game.
So action-adventure game, I'm going to give to Last of Us 2. Again, because like talked before, despite the hate, it's a really good game. And I think it deserves an award. Whether it'll actually get it is a different story.
The ones I wrote down for this one were the Resident Evil 3 remake, the Minecraft Dungeons, but that might be more of just an action game, and the Final Fantasy VII remake. I agree with Last of Us. Best Action Game.
So I'm giving this one to Ghost of Tsushima. I think the game's combat system alone qualifies it for the action game.
I think there's a lot of overlap between the two. Action, I wrote down Warzone, Predator, Ghost Runner, and Kakarot. I would see it going to Warzone, but I could also see it going to something like Ghost of Tsushima. Best VR game, I have nothing written down because I don't know what came out in VR.
Half-Life Alyx. I never played it, but it was everywhere for months after it came out. People have been waiting for a new Half-Life.
I don't know if you saw any gameplay of it, but it was really well made as well.
I did, yeah. It really takes VR to the next level and where you can see VR going in the future. So yeah, I think it has to win.
Do you have anything for mobile game?
No.
I was going to make a joke about Gears of War Pop, but I don't even think it's worth that. So let's move on to Best Indie Game.
I got nothing for that either.
I wrote down Fall Guys and Among Us, but apparently Among Us came out in 2018, so Fall Guys. And then there's this category called Games for Impact, which are games that have social messages or something.
Right. I don't have anything written down, and I'm just actually kind of researching to see when something came out. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say Life is Strange 2, but that came out last year, so...
That was nominated last year for this category. Best Performance.
I didn't write anything down, but I'll just say Troy Baker because he's in everything, and my chances of it being something is pretty high.
I wrote down Laura Bailey in Last of Us.
Okay, yeah.
Or the other girl in Last of Us, but I forget her name off the top of my head. The girl who plays Ellie.
Somebody else that could win that would be Nolan North, because he's also in everything.
Best Audio Design. I have nothing. I really pay attention to games audio. Oh, there's a separate category for music, so...
Yeah.
Then, yeah, no, I have nothing for audio, but do you have anything for Best Music?
I'm going to give score and music again to Tony Hawk. I'm not sure if it fully qualifies because it's not exactly original music. It's a licensed soundtrack. I think it's probably one of the best soundtracks we've got.
I think the music in Hades is good. I think the music in Ghost of Tsushima is good. And I guess it's more audio design, but so far in Assassin's Creed, I thought it's been pretty good as far as audio. Moving on, the next one is Best Art Direction.
I actually didn't write anything down, but thinking about it, Ghost of Tsushima.
I was thinking that or Hades. Best Narrative, I wrote down Last of Us and Ghost.
Yeah, those would be my two choices as well. I'd probably give it to Last of Us, though.
Next one, Best Game Direction.
I don't know what that means.
I don't really know how to quantify this either. Last year, Kojima Productions won for Death Stranding.
Okay, that's kind of odd, but sure.
I honestly don't really know what a game director does versus like a movie director or something. So moving on to Best Ongoing Game, I just said it's going to be the same nominees as the community support games, except for maybe with Overwatch thrown in there because Overwatch is still doing all right.
Okay, yeah.
But I don't see why it would be any different.
I'd like maybe swap No Man's Sky out with Overwatch for that category.
And then last, we go to Game of the Year. Do you have any ideas for things that you would have as Game of the Year, or do you just have what you think will win Game of the Year?
I have 3 games that I would hope would be nominated, and then I have my one that's a winner. My nominees would be The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, and the Tony Hawk remake. And out of those 3, I would give it to Ghost of Tsushima. A samurai game won last year as well, because samurais are cool. Like I said before, I honestly think it's one of the best games we got this generation, not even just the year. I think if it released on PC, it would be a lot bigger as well. I think it's Game of the Year for sure.
For Game of the Year, I had Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima. I also wrote down Warzone, because that technically released this year, even though Modern Warfare came out last year. I also wrote down Fall Guys and Hades and Animal Crossing. If Game of the Year is the best Game of the Year, I would probably say Ghost of Tsushima or Last of Us. I could also see Hades winning if it's best Game of the Year, even though I don't think it's better than either of those games. I think if it's like the most impact in the year, I would say Animal Crossing would absolutely win Game of the Year.
I didn't even consider Animal Crossing because it was so far back in the year that I kind of forgot while I was considering it. But yeah, that game definitely was huge. My personal choice is obviously Ghost of Tsushima.
I think Ghost of Tsushima has a really high chance of winning, but I would not be surprised if Animal Crossing just came in and won Game of the Year. When was the last time a Nintendo game won Game of the Year?
Breath of the Wild won whatever year Breath of the Wild came out.
2016?
Yeah. So Breath of the Wild won for that one.
There's so many different games of the year. Yeah, Breath of the Wild won in 2017.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild just swept every game award in 2017.
Yeah, I remember watching and just like, oh, Breath of the Wild again.
The BAFTA for Interactive Entertainment gave it to What Remains of Edith Finch.
I think I played that, but I didn't play through it.
The Czech Game of the Year in 2017 was Atatat 1942.
All right.
Breath of the Wild should win Game of the Year in 2020, is what I'm learning from this small amount of research I just did.
Well, I believe that brings us to the end of episode 2. Johan, do you have anything you would like to plug or promote?
Follow me on Twitter at Johan Berg. I would say follow my Twitch account, but I don't ever stream really, so don't. Or do. Twitch.tv/theketchupchip.
As always, let us know what you think. You can find us on Twitter at Scratch_cast, on Facebook at Record Scratch Cast, and on our website, recordscratch.podbean.com. And then, follow Johan on his Twitter at Johan Berg.
Also follow Garrett on Twitter.
Also follow me on Twitter at Garrett103. I post a lot of memes. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye.